Do you know who you really are? Hello, it's Rashmir, and in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about knowing the self. So the phrase "know thyself" is very well known. I suppose it's typically ascribed to the ancient Greeks and was famously carved into the Temple of Apollo in Delphi. And of course, Socrates talks about the importance of knowing the self as well. But arguably, the phrase goes back even further and beyond the phrase. The idea of knowing the self goes back not just to the ancient Egyptians, but previously in almost any ancient culture, you'll probably find something about knowing the self. So why do we want to know the self? I suppose on a very practical basis, we don't really know who we are, and we don't know what matters to us. We don't know what lifts us up, what excites us, what makes us happy, and what doesn't. It's very difficult to not just navigate through life, but to actually live life intentionally. Otherwise, we're just going to default into meeting other people's expectations, or, doing the things that we've been taught to believe are the things that we should do as our life progresses, right? So taking time to stop and reflect on who we are and what matters to us is incredibly important. But there's something that I find really interesting about this idea of knowing the self, because I don't advocate endless navel gazing. There's a time and a place for reflection, and there's definitely a time and place to ask the deeper questions about who we are. But we don't want to get caught in that process of coming back to the self and forgetting about the outside world, because at some point, we have to engage with the outside world. At some point, it's actually what happens in the outer world that helps catalyze our journey forward. Whether that's with purpose or with feeling fulfilled, with being full of joy, with making a difference, whatever it happens to be, right? That is a conversation between who we are and our external world. But the irony, the thing I find really fascinating about knowing the self is, so a lot of people hesitate with this work, either because they're afraid of it or because they don't want to delve into what they might find, or they don't want to deal with the emotions or the thoughts that might come up. And for sure, there's definitely some challenging moments as you're going through and doing the work of knowing yourself. However, for those that have the courage and the willingness to persevere through the difficult moments, the rewards are magnificent. Because even when and this is true for some people, I think this is probably true for me when I began on the path of self-development, I was kind of worried that maybe I wouldn't like what I found, right? When I delved deep into see who I was, or I was worried maybe there wasn't anything really of substance there. And these are valid fears. And here's when the irony comes in, right? The irony is actually the more we know ourselves at the personality level, the more we're able to delve deeper and know who we really are beyond the personality, beyond our work and our family and all of the sort of encumbrances of modern life. And what we find there is likely to surprise us. It reminds me actually of the Marianne Williamson quote. It's not our darkness that we're afraid of, it's our light, because the truth is we are each more powerful and more capable and more brilliant than we could possibly know. And one way to start to know that, to start to dive in, is to start exploring the self and know the self. That's it for me today. Do leave a comment and let me know what, if anything, this video sparked. I'd love to hear where you are on your journey with knowing who you truly are.